Hello, good morning students, and assalamu alaikum. This is Mr. Issa, your social studies teacher for grade 5. Today we shall discuss about unit 4 that says today and the future. Unit 4, lesson 3. Lesson 3 reads as follows: Economics of the Middle East. We can get this lesson from page 118 to 125 of the textbook, and you can get this lesson also from the activity book page 65 to page 71. As we know, every lesson has its own objectives. So the objectives of this lesson are: 1. To explain the economic patterns of various early people. Number 2. To learn more about the economy and the factors that affect it. Number 3. We should study how people earn a living. Number 4. We should learn about the supply and demand. I know this slide may have some difficult terms, but as we go on the next slide, we shall define all the terms and what they mean. Before we go to the defining of the terms, let's try to have the summary of the lesson. What is economics? Economics teaches us about the way people make, offer, and use goods and services for money. Economics teaches us about the way people make, offer, and use goods and services just to make money. Understanding economics is very, very important part of social studies. We all need to understand what is economics, because in our daily lives we use money, we use goods, we use services, and we make money and we give out money. All this is economy. So we need to study economics. Every day people buy and sell different commodity. Good. Let's go to the vocabulary words. One of the word is commodity. What is commodity? Commodity is a product that can be bought or sold. Anything that can be bought or can be sold, it's a commodity. Number 2 is the word labor. What is labor? Labor is the work required to provide goods and services. We know the goods and services cannot produce themselves. We need people to work there. We need some human efforts which can produce the goods and services. These human efforts are what we call labor. The next word is value. Value is what something is worth. Value is what something is worth. For example, a laptop can cost 2,500 riyals. So that is the value of the laptop. For example, a television can cost 500 riyal. That is the value of that television. Let's come to the word supply and demand. What is supply and demand? Let's start with the word supply. Supply means how much of a commodity is available. Supply means how much of a commodity is available. And demand means how much of a commodity people want. These are two different words, but always they move together. Always they carry each other. When something is very much available in the market, we say the supply is high. When something is not very much available, we say the supply is low. So, supply and demand, these are two words which carry each other. What is demand? Demand is how much something people want. To understand the word demand better, look at the picture on the left hand side. The picture has 6 people. So if 6 people want apples, then we can say the demand for apples is 6. Again, look at the picture on the left hand side. There are 6 people raising up their hand asking for something. Let's try to assume they are asking for apples. So if 6 people want apples, then we can say that the demand for apples is 6. On the right hand side, we have another picture that's green in color. We have the column for shortage versus surplus. Shortage versus surplus. We shall start with the first one. Demand is greater than supply. When the demand is greater than the supply, then there is a shortage of that item. There is a shortage of that commodity. Let me repeat. The first one, you can see demand is greater than supply. When the demand is greater than supply, there is a shortage of that item. And when there is a shortage of an item, the price of that item will go up. The price of that item will increase. The second one is supply is greater than the demand. Supply is greater than the demand. When the supply is greater than the demand, then there is surplus. It is more much than needed. It is available. So when the supply is greater than the demand, the prices go down, the prices decrease, and we buy things cheaper than before. That is all about supply. Let's go to trade in the Islamic world. How was the Islamic world? And why is it that Islamic world is benefiting a lot from the other world? It's because the geographic position of the Arabian Peninsula was very important for the economics of the Middle East. The trade routes between Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea, they always pass through the Middle East. The trade routes where people were passing from one place to another to sell and buy their items, they involved Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. For this reason, the people of the Middle East, they usually have an advantage of getting things easier than other people. So the people of our region had contact with other people in the West and the East. So they brought many products from each side to the other. Some of the products which were brought from the East and the West because of the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea is the navigation tools or navigation instruments. You can see the first picture. There are some navigation instruments which came from China. Below it, we can see rice. This rice also came from China. At the center, we can see a lady trying to make papers using some type of machines. This idea, these skills also came from China. They are not originally from the Middle East. On the right hand side, we can see some navigation knowledge or some instruments which are used in math and navigation. These also, they are not from the Middle East. They came from the Far East during the trade. Below it, there are sugar canes. The sugar canes came from India. Now the Indian Ocean comes in here. Because of the Indian Ocean, the sugar cane were able to reach in other places of the Middle. So apart from the changes in other sectors, also the transport and communication system of the Middle East changed. In ancient times, it was very difficult to travel and communicate easily. When you sent a letter or a message, they could take so long to reach or they could get lost on the way. But today, things have changed. Now it's much easier to communicate because there are telephones, fax, radios, televisions, and many other. On the side of the transport, things have also changed. You can move from one place to another because transport is now easier. We have cars, trains, ships, and airplanes. Not like before where we were only relying on camels and others. Let's try to compare this slide. On the left hand side, it's a caravan of animals, a caravan of camels. Below it is a chebek. A chebek is a type of a ship that was used long time ago. All those are ancient ways of traveling from one place to another. But we have the modern ones. You can see we have the ship, we have the car, we have the airplane, and the trains. All these are the modern ways of traveling which were not there long time ago. So the Middle East economy has also changed because of the modern way of transport. Again, the Middle East economy has changed or has become better because of the modern ways of division of labor. What is division of labor? The Industrial Revolution has introduced many machines to manufacture goods faster, and people started working in factories to produce goods. The Industrial Revolution introduced many machines to manufacture goods faster, and people started working in factories to produce goods. In this system, each worker trains in completing a few tasks. In this system, each worker trains in completing a few tasks. And you know, if you do something little every day, you concentrate on the same thing, you become a specialist in it. So this kind of specialization allows business to produce quickly and very cheaply because you're concentrating only on one thing. The labor has been divided. You are only working on something specific. This kind of working allows business to produce quickly.
The introduction of the new methods of transportation, supply and demand boost the economy of the Middle East. Geographical location of the countries in the Middle East has helped them to increase their economy. New forms of communication has shaped and helped the economy of the Middle East in reaching its peak. Other products and important commodities are imported from some parts of the world to produce new line of products. Thanks for following and feel free to contact me for any help.